Vince McMahon has given up on a Raw star. We have big Royal Rumble plans for upcoming WWE talent. Find out what that means in a little tickle. And a long-time WWE staff member is retiring. Find out who that is in a little tickle. 2 tickles. Ooh. Now we have big news of a massive name on the Raw roster who apparently WWE have given up on. Now this is heart-wrenching to say, Sam. Who are we speaking about?
We're talking about Finn Balor. So WrestlingNews.co have reported that according to their sources, there are no plans for the Irish Ace to receive a sustained push on the red brand anytime soon. He was pinned clean by Austin Theory on this week's show, but a source within the company told WrestlingNews.co, Finn was moved into the spot that Jeff Hardy had. He's just there now to help get over the younger guys. There was a pitch to make him heel, but that was weeks ago, and I haven't heard much about it since then. Vince never saw Finn as more than just a mid-card guy. Heyman would have pushed him to the moon, but Vince just never saw it. And that's just... How do you look at somebody like Finn Balor and just not see anything? I mean, we needlessly had the Demon return, and I think around that time people started to question, like, are they kind of running out of things to do with him? And especially how that all kind of just ended suddenly and it was done. It's just sad to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really sad to hear because you see the Jeff Hardy bit there. The big difference between Jeff Hardy and Finn Balor, I know that Finn Balor is over 40 years of age. I know I can concede that point, but the difference between Finn Balor and Jeff Hardy is that Jeff Hardy had his main roster run, he had his world title run, and Finn Balor never got there. Of course, he won the Universal title, it was the first ever one back in 2016. Injured during that match with Rollins, never got back to that level. It is weird when you watch what he did in NXT, especially the second run, that you couldn't see anything in that run and not translate it to the main roster. Because Finn Balor as a babyface in WWE was boring, it was bland, it was, oh, hello, I'm here to fight in a good way. And
he's so good at getting that little bit of sinister nature across. In WWE, they've got Roman's a bit sinister, but Roman's sinister in a gangstery way. Like, how? Like, are they creatively bankrupt? They have like hundreds of writers. Surely somebody's pitching something good for Balor. Surely.
Yeah, but if Vince McMahon sees nought in them, what's the point? It's just weird how Vince wouldn't maybe see what happened in it. Well, maybe he did see. I'm just going to throw this out there. Maybe he saw the defeat to AEW in the Wednesday Night Wars as proof that Finn Balor will never be a draw. But it's baffling all the same.
Yeah, absolutely baffling.
Big Royal Rumble plans for Austin Theory now. This comes to us from WrestlingNews.co, who write that Austin Theory is going to get time to shine in the Royal Rumble match. The last I heard, which is Wrestling News Co., he would be in the final 4 or 5 at the end of the match. Conversely, the same source told the site that Vince feels as though Theory will become a main eventer within the next year.
Well, we've heard reports for quite some time now that Vince has a massive stiffy for him, and Vince sees him as, you know, a big name going forward and a face of the company to come. So, you know, Austin Theory to Vince is apparently, from everything we're reading, all the rumors and all the reports that come out, Austin Theory is very much Vince's idea for the future. So it makes sense to start investing in that now. You know, getting to the final 4, final 5 in a Rumble is a good start. It would shock me if he was to just win the Rumble, especially with Brock Lesnar being favorite the last time I checked. But I don't know. You know, Austin Theory he's not somebody who I'm initially like whenever I see him wrestle, or when I first saw him wrestle with WWE, there wasn't really anything that jumped out at me. But he is somebody I can see grinding away to get to that spot that Vince sees for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that the main selling point is the fact that I think he's 12 years old. That's what's
and you know,
that's
like he can be champion for the next 40 years. So
there we go. But it has been weird watching Vince McMahon and Austin Theory's interactions on the main roster in Vince McMahon's office. It's interesting you mentioned that Vince would have a stiffy for Austin Theory because we never see the man stood up anymore. So he could be hiding a massive erection, a massive boner behind the desk. But it is weird to see Vince McMahon just sort of emasculate Austin Theory, but then hear the news that Vince McMahon is keen to push Austin Theory as the next big thing in WWE, something that people want to get behind after he's emasculated the man. And on this week's Raw, impressively, I should say, it is impressive. He sat there on international broadcast TV, Sam, and he said that he would murder Austin Theory if he didn't beat Finn Balor. He would grind him down into nothing more than, I think the quote was, blood, teeth and something else. I can't remember what the third thing was.
Well,
and
you're
then,
not doing that well if there's still teeth. Get your mortar and pestle out, Vince.
The best thing was, Sam, after rendering Austin Theory down into this pile of blood and teeth and whatever else, he said he would take a selfie and send the selfie to Austin Theory's mom.
Oh, the thing with WWE is we always kind of think about it in a traditional wrestling way where it's like, if you win, you're getting that push. But the more you listen to old guys like Pritchard and stuff on podcasts, the more they just treat it like a TV show. So featured time is getting a push to me in my head in WWE. And because it's always like, we didn't job them out. We didn't job out those guys when they came to the company. They were in a match with The Undertaker. So like, if you're getting into promos with Vince, then the company, like Vince must really want to do it because Vince apparently hates being on camera. So it's a good indicator if Vince is interacting with him more, then they kind of, going off this mentality that you hear in a lot of these podcasts. He is getting that featured time. He is getting that little bit of push sort of already, and he is getting that little bit of Vince McMahon rub. So it makes sense that he is going to go far.
Yeah, as I say, it's just weird seeing this person who... There was news a few months ago saying that Austin Theory was appealing to the younger demographic.
Yeah.
And it was just weird to sit there and think, yeah, Vince McMahon is just sort of disabling this man like a grandma would. Back in the day, and you go around to your grandma's and she'd tell you off for nothing and then be confused by everything you do. That's what Vince McMahon's doing to Austin Theory, and how they're expecting people to get behind that is weird. But we'll have to see what happens at the Rumble. Big plans, apparently, allegedly, for Austin Theory nonetheless. Now we have news of an upcoming Raw episodes airing on a different channel, and it's a return to WWE spiritual home in the upcoming week, Sam, because they're going back to Syfy.
There better be a zombie. There better be a zombie.
Spooky things. Expect, maybe the zombies will come back, Sam, and eat some more people. The zombies from last year?
Oh, God, no. I forgot about that until I was doing a video, and it was like, was it Backlash? And I was just like scrolling
Backlash,
through,
yeah.
and I was like, the zombie lumberjacks. No. But,
who knows what might happen? But
this is to make room for the Winter Olympics, those pesky Winter Olympics that pop up. I love curling and ski jumping. What do you like, Ross?
I like the toboggan.
Oh yeah, the single toboggan's like terrifying when they go down on that. But yeah, they're going to have to shift because Winter Olympics important in that. And PW Insider are reporting that they will be airing on Syfy for February 7th and 14th, so Valentine's Day. We're getting it on Syfy, which, fingers crossed, they do have a zombie-themed surprise for us.
And this is history in the making, because this is the first time in decades that Raw won't air in its normal time slot since returning to the USA Network in October 2005. We've mentioned the stuff there with ECW on Syfy. I'd like to say you doubt anything with the sci-fi nature of Syfy would have any sort of bearing on Monday Night Raw, but at this point we have no idea what might come next, do we, Sam?
Yeah, Netflix could sneeze and just up pops a new, alien zombie film, and then all of a sudden there's the main event.
Interestingly, though, this could have some bearing. Keep this in mind when Raw does make the switch to Syfy. NXT was moved from the USA Network to air on Syfy during the Summer Olympics. The first episode did the lowest total viewership in the history of the show, while the second episode did NXT's lowest key demo, if you're into that kind of thing. So don't be surprised to see a couple of lowest Raw ratings ever.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because obviously the last Olympics, the Tokyo Olympics, was pushed back so far, and then there was no audience, and the viewership really suffered for the Olympics to the point where people were starting to question it. But that still managed to eke out NXT. So the Winter Olympics, I don't know if it might be a little bit more popular if they have people in attendance and it's a little bit more exciting. And again, America's a country that does a lot more winter sports than we do, right? So there might be quite some crossover even for the Winter Olympics where people are going to drop off, but I guess only time will tell.
Only time will tell. Now we have news that a long-time WWE lawyer, well, not the only one, but certainly the most famous one, he wants to hang up his pen and his pointy finger from the courtroom and head off into retirement. Well, of course, speaking about Jerry McDevitt, who has done everything for Vince McMahon, had such a close working relationship with Vince McMahon over so many years at this point, saved Vince McMahon from going to jail famously back in the early 90s with the steroid trial. Anything and everything that's been thrown Vince McMahon's way, he's gone, Jerry, save me.
And Jerry does.
He does every single time. What's he been saying to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, though, Sam?
So he's 72 years old, just to note as well. He's still going at 72 years old, but he said, I've been trying to turn it down a little bit as I'm headed into retirement. But because of my long-standing relationship with WWE, I continue to represent them. Although I keep telling Vince I do want to retire. Most relationships nowadays with lawyers and publicly traded companies are at the general counsel level. Outside lawyers work with the general counsel of the company and never with the CEO or chairman of the board. But my contact and my relationship is directly with and to Vince. It's always been. It always has been, always will be. That's kind of a unique relationship in the landscape of the law these days for outside counsel to have that sort of direct relationship. So he's somebody who's very much, it sounds like he's enjoyed his time working with the company, but he's like, please, Vince, can you just give me 5 minutes and stop going to court over random swear word so I can just have a rest, so I can just sit down in my nice pool and just chill. But he's been working with WWE for 35 years at this point, it's, as you said, it's been nearly every single major legal case, the steroid trial, everything else that's kind of flared up over time. McDevitt's been there front and center. So in a way, it's sort of the end of an era for the company if McDevitt is to walk off into the sunset.
Oh, big time. I bet Vince McMahon's getting proper emotional because this guy, as we said earlier, has saved him from all sorts of things.
You're going to need to find a lawyer just as good, so he must be shaking a little bit as well.
All the best to Vince, who certainly doesn't have the cash to try and find that sort of thing out, does he? Now we have news of Canyon Ceman, who of course was released a little time ago from WWE. He's taken to LinkedIn to provide his first statement since being released from WWE back in August of last year. What's he been saying on the old LinkedIn there, Sam?
So he said that he is grateful for his adventurous 9.5-year run with WWE. He praised Executive Vice President of Global Talent Strategy and Development, of course, Paul Triple H Levesque, as a visionary leader and a good human. And he named others such as Vice President of Talent Development, Kristen Altman, former Director of Talent Development and Head of Global Recruiting, William Regal, WWE Performance Center Head Coach Matt Bloom, Dr. Chris Ceman, and many others. And he also revealed that the thing he's most proud of from his WWE run, it was an honor and a pleasure to recruit and work with WWE talent. He praised them as being the most passionate, creative, and hardest working athletes he's been around, and said it was inspirational to watch them all the way from 2012 to 2021.
Yep, Syfy, who worked as the Senior Vice President of Talent Development and who was seen in many sort of documentaries. I'm thinking of the Breaking Ground stuff when he was hiring and firing people. That was his sort of role at the Performance Center, bringing in people and unfortunately telling people your time with the company is up. So it wasn't an easy job for him. He obviously wasn't the person making those decisions, who to bring in and who to let go, but he was the guy tasked with delivering that sometimes nice, sometimes horrible news. Mustn't have been a nice job to have at times.
Yeah, you always hear that it's very difficult to work in talent relations, especially if you hear Jim Ross talk about it. It just sounds like a nightmare because you're kind of always blamed no matter what. So you've got to be ready to constantly be the guy who's got to deliver bad news. So, it's good that he's proud of his time there and that he seems to be moving forward,
Yeah, all the best to Canyon Ceman.
Yeah, what a name.
Some thick skin on Canyon Ceman. I have been Ross from Cultaholic Wrestling. He has been Sam from Cultaholic Wrestling. Does he have any closing remarks? Let's find out now.
Just thank you for watching the news today. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Stay safe. And I'll see you next time.
I echo his sentiments. Now I'm going to retire to my creepy wrestling basement. Bye, everybody. Bye.